Rich man walks into orphanage. Girl screams dad. Shocking truth revealed at 3 a.m. In the quiet heart of Millfield, a town shrouded in both charm and whispers, the atmosphere was electrifying. It was just past midnight when a sleek black car rolled up to the old stone orphanage, its headlights slicing through the shadows like a knife. Inside, the children slept innocent dreams cocooned in tattered blankets. But one girl, Lily, a scrappy 8-year-old with wide, anxious eyes, sat up suddenly, her heart pounding like a jackhammer. She watched as the door burst open, and in strode a man clad in an expensive suit too expensive for this part of town. "Dad!" she screamed, an agonized cry that shattered the night. And just like that, the world froze. The man looked taken aback, confusion swirling behind his icy blue eyes. Who was this child? What had she seen that was worth screaming for? The energy shifted. A nearby pin dropped silent in the charged air. Each child's face reflected a mix of curiosity and fear, and whispers slithered through the darkened hallways. Was he really her father? What secrets lay hidden within those opulent walls? The orphanage, often overlooked by busy townsfolk, swelled with a foreboding presence. It held shadows, a history of broken dreams, and untold stories. Tonight, it felt alive, its creaky corridors echoing with questions. Was the man here to rescue Lily? Or was he the harbinger of something much darker? Storm clouds began to gather outside, a symphony of rumbling thunder adding to the tension. Now, there was something lurking beneath the surface, a past entwined with the present. A photograph of Lily, adorned in a frilly dress, lay crumpled near the entrance. The familiar face looming over her was that of the mysterious man. When had he abandoned her? And why return now? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Outside, the storm was growing louder, flashes of lightning illuminating the tense faces inside. The rich man took a step forward, but Lily didn't back down. The lump in her throat grew bigger, yet she felt an urge, a spark of courage to confront whatever twisted tale lay ahead. The air crackled, and just before she spoke, a horrid scream pierced through the heavy night. It wasn't from her. For him, it was a different voice, echoing through the orphanage. What secret was about to unravel in those chilling moments at 3 a.m.? The scream reverberated through the building, sharp and haunting, slicing through the heavy tension like glass breaking. It felt like the walls themselves shuddered in response, the old wood creaking with every heartbeat. The children, once lost in dreams, now stirred, wide-eyed and terrified, their small bodies trembling beneath the thin layers of their blankets. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, the shadows deepening as if they were alive and sharing in the dread that enveloped the orphanage. Who was that? A whisper, thin and shaky, emerged from one of the older children huddled in the corner. The rich man, still stunned by Lily's unexpected claim, flinched at the sound of the scream. His gaze flicked toward the hallway that led to the playroom, where the echo had originated. The uncertainty settled heavy in the air, thick enough to choke on. Fear began to build as Lily's eyes darted between the man and the shadowy corridor. "Stay here," the man commanded, his voice low but edged with authority. He took a step toward the source of the scream, the polished shoes tapping decisively on the cold floor. But he hardly made it 2 feet before Lily, propelled by instinct and desperation, grasped his sleeve. "Don't go," she cried, her voice a haunting mix of stubbornness and terror. "I have to see what's going on," he replied, glancing sideways at her, his brow furrowed in concern that felt out of place against his suit. "It could be dangerous." "No," Lily insisted, shaking her head fiercely. "I can't lose you too." The raw emotion painted her small features with desperation, an echo of a deeper pain. It was as if her very soul was pleading with him, like nothing else mattered except the bond that had just violently ruptured back into existence. Before the rich man could argue, A second scream ripped through the building, this one even more anguished. It was unmistakably human, a cry filled with terror that sent rivulets of ice slithering down spines. The children, now completely alert, huddled together, eyes wide with fear. "Stay close," he barked as he turned on his heel, moving toward the narrow hallway that separated the common areas from the lesser-used back rooms. He glanced back, but all he saw were the kids watching in horror, confusion mapping their faces. "Lily," he began, but something in the darkness at the end of the hallway caught his attention. A shadowy figure emerged, silhouetted against the flickering lights that struggled against the tempest outside, gripping something in its hands. The man's heart raced. It felt like time slowed to a standstill. "Help!" A child's voice cried out, this one familiar. It was the high-pitched tone of Sarah, a timid girl who had always been close to Lily. "Help me, please." The man felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with a wave of nostalgia and regret. He pushed forward, each step drawing him deeper into the frantic mystery. But then he froze, struck by a chilling realization. The figure before him, illuminated by the storm, was not a stranger. It was a face still and lifeless, but undeniably known. His breath caught in his throat. Who had returned? And what was left of the dreams that haunted the orphanage? With the storm brewing ferociously outside, the man felt time swirling infinitely around him, a reminder that some secrets were better left untold. The shadows lengthened as a muted tension wrapped around them, refusing to let go. As he reached the doorway, ready to confront the darkness behind it, a loud crash echoed from inside, causing the children to scream. What had changed? What trouble had come to roost in their already broken lives? Answers loomed just beyond the door, shrouded in the piercing rain and frantic chaos. As the wind howled, it whispered riddles. What else was hidden beneath the surface of their lives, waiting to be uncovered? The man took a hesitant step forward, the icy grip of fear tightening around his chest. He combed through the shadows, jumping along the walls, every heartbeat echoing louder than the last. The stray thought crossed his mind, what if he was too late? He staggered forward, almost tripping over a floorboard that creaked beneath the weight of hidden horrors. "Sarah!" he shouted, his voice cracking through the chaos, but it was swallowed by the thunder clashing outside. Each heavy roar of the storm punctuated the oppressive silence that wrapped tightly around the orphanage. He could taste the tension in the air, metallic and sharp, a bitter vindication of the story that had brought him back. "Lily," he called again, forcing her name choking from his throat, desperate for reassurance that she was still there, still safe. He pushed the door open, a slow swing that felt like an eternity, heart hammering with the weight of memories, of choices made in darkness. Inside, broken furniture lay scattered, with a flickering bulb revealing the chaos. Shadows danced against the walls as wind gusts rattled the windows. In the corner, crumpled against the wall, was Sarah, and right beside her, that familiar face motionless. "Sarah!" he gasped, rushing toward her. Fear twisted his stomach into knots. "What happened?" She looked up at him, eyes wide and brimming with tears, her hand trembling as she pointed toward the unmoving body. He wake up. He was just there, and then in a heartbeat, he was kneeling beside the figure. His breath caught again. It was Tom, the other orphanage caretaker, the one who had promised safety. Now lifeless, a shadow of the man he had once known. Panic clawed at him within, amid disbelief mixing with profound sadness. "What did you do?" The words slipped from his lips before he could stop them. What had led to this? A darkness that crept closer, taunting him with its merciless grip. "I didn't do anything," Sarah cried, her hands covering her face, frustration bubbling into rage. "You have to believe me." He said something about the old stories, and then he just fell. "It wasn't me." "What stories?" His eyes darted around the room, searching for answers in the silence that choked him. A sense of dread engulfed him. This wasn't just a simple accident. He said about the darkness that hides. She whispered, as if spilling a secret too heavy for even the walls to bear. He talked about spirits trapped here and the bad things that happened a long time ago. The walls of the room seemed to lean in closer, the shadows trembling with treachery, as if lingering on the words, waiting. A fracture of cold seeped into his skin. Could it be true? Could these tales woven through the years, once he thought to be mere bedtime stories, bear a wrenching reality? Just then, a faint scuffle came from behind him, a low, guttural whisper. The man spun around, heart racing. Shadows flickered near the doorway he had just come through. Help! Another child's voice echoed from the darkness, but it was different this time, terrified and pleading. The man clenched his fists, hard in his throat. Something terrible was afoot. Without a second thought, he bolted toward the sound, adrenaline surging as the storm raged louder, drowning out everything else. Lily's terrified face flashed before him, urging him to fight against whatever darkness plagued them. But as he crossed the threshold into the next room, he felt a chill wrap around him, a touch like ice tracing along his spine. What was once buried is now awake, the shadows whispered. In that moment, he wondered what else had been hidden that would shatter the fragile remnants of safety they clung to. The question rode on the winds as he stepped deeper into the shadows, each breath tightening his chest, and time stilled again as he confronted what lay within. He knew he was on the precipice, a point of no return, and as the ominous laughter echoed from the corners of the darkness, he realized the truth. The horror they had unknowingly unleashed was just beginning. The air was thick as he entered the next room, the world outside blending into a distant echo of thunder. The sound of his own breathing sounded loud and panicked, each inhale filled with the taste of dust and stale memories. Shadows moved as if alive, tempting him deeper into the unknown. Lily, he called again, the name tearing from him with urgency. The answer came not just from the shadows but from a voice he didn't recognize, a child's laughter, sweet and haunting, blending seamlessly with the storm. Over here, the voice teased, echoing softly, taunting him as it floated through the darkness. He hesitated, the hairs on the back of his neck prickling. A cold sweat dripped down his spine, but he couldn't let fear paralyze him. "Where are you?" he shouted, pushing himself to move forward. Each step felt like wading through heavy mud, oppressing and pulling him down. The flickering bulb overhead buzzed angrily, like a warning. Shadows darted at the edges of the light, revealing shapes that shouldn't have been there, a rusting bicycle, a pile of broken toys, remnants of lives abandoned. Then, from the corner, he caught sight of her. Lily, her form illuminated just enough to see, crouched beneath an old table, wide eyes like saucers, filled with an overwhelming mix of fear and curiosity. "Please don't come closer," she whimpered, clutching a doll that looked far worse for wear than she had. It seemed to twist in her hands, a grotesque reminder of innocence distorted. "Lily," he pleaded, tension knotting in his stomach. "I'm here to help you. Just tell me what is happening." She shook her head furiously, tears streaming down her cheeks as she locked her gaze on something just beyond him. "It's not safe. You don't understand." Before he could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows behind him, slower than he expected, almost ethereal. It seemed to drift rather than walk, the room growing unbearably cold as it approached. The face was familiar but twisted, caught between agony and long-lost sanity. "Tom," he staggered back, heart racing. Did he imagine this apparition? "Tom," he whispered, voice trembling. "What would happen to you?" But Tom's eyes were vacant, lost in a fog that swirled with memories of loss and regret. A soft voice broke the silence. "You shouldn't have come back." It slipped through his lips, as if the shadows were feeding him these words. "What do you mean?" he gasped, confusion clawing at him. "What do you want?" But the figure simply stared, and with a sudden flicker of light, the room flashed, images swirling beneath the surface of Tom's skin, children's laughter, tortured screams, a fire Sarah's words bounced like echoes in his mind, the darkness that hides. What had they awakened? The wind outside howled in protest, rattling the windows, and suddenly, the darkness surged forward. Shadows pressed in around him as despair gripped his heart. He felt trapped, ensnared in a web woven from secrets and forgotten stories. The walls closed in. In that moment of chaos, realization hit him like a punch to the gut. Something wicked was stirring. His instincts screamed for him to flee, but Lily's terrified gaze held him in place. He couldn't abandon her, not now. "Get away from her," he shouted, the danger lacing his voice as he stepped protectively in front of her. The shadows responded, swirling around them as laughter echoed, unholy and chilling. What had he brought back with him? And more importantly, would he be able to face it when it came crashing down? Help us, Lily pleaded, her voice almost lost in the tempest of spirits now swirling in the room. Pressing in from all sides, he felt it, then the darkness reaching for him, claws sharp as ice against his skin. And it dawned on him. Whatever had come alive was not merely lurking, it was hunting. With a flash of resolve, he gripped Lily's hand. We have to go now. But would the shadows let them escape? And as they turned to flee the dark apparition, he wondered if they were running towards safety or deeper into hell itself. The shaking started as a low rumble beneath their feet, the ground seeming to sigh with age. He tugged Lily closer, feeling her small frame trembling beside him. Hold on tight, he urged, and together they sprinted towards the doorway. But the darkness slithered, warping the air around them. A cold wind swept in, swirling like a furious storm. As they reached the threshold, the light bulb overhead buzzed one last time before dying, plunging them into a thick black void. Stay with me, he shouted, panic rising within him as he squinted into the abyss, searching for any sign of the exit. Why isn't it working? Lily whimpered, her voice small yet filled with dread. It's too dark. Suddenly, he felt a tug on the back of his shirt, as if something unseen was pulling him back. He turned, heart racing, but only dense shadows greeted him as they coiled tighter. The laughter returned, sharper this time, echoing from every corner, taunting them, mocking their fear. Then, out of the darkness beyond, a whisper reverberated, chilling him to the bone. You should never come back. He didn't recognize the voice, yet instinctively he understood it belonged to the once familiar face of Tom. The memories of their last encounter flooded his mind, laughter, shared secrets, and the last flickers of warmth before oblivion stole him away. What do you want? He called, desperation creeping into his tone. What are you? The shadows shifted, contorting into shapes that flickered and merged. A figure stepped forward, the air around it shimmering as if reality itself was tearing apart. At first, it looked like Tom, but then it morphed, skin pulling tight against a skull, eyes like burning coals staring through him. Let her go? He shouted, stepping forward instinctively. The very act felt both brave and foolish. How far had this darkness twisted Tom? But then Lily screamed, a sound that shattered the thick tension in the air. He turned just in time to see her pale face, mouth agape in horror, pointing. Behind you. He spun around, and there in the shadows was a mass of swirling darkness, growing larger by the second. It was a formless entity, a predator ready to pounce. A chorus of voices arose, rising and falling like the tide, each one laced with sorrow and rage. No, he yelled, grabbing Lily's hand tighter than before. They were running together now, pounding toward the door at the far end, the light flickering dimly with each step they took. The shadows chased them, pulling, clawing, hungry for the warmth of life. Suddenly, he felt Lily's grip loosen. I can't keep up, she cried, her voice a fragile wail in the storm. He skidded to a halt, heart racing, instinct screaming. We can't stop. You have to try. The shadows hissed, seeming to grow bolder with every moment of hesitation. An icy fear gripped his chest, and in that split second, he faced an unbearable choice. They could either fight together or risk losing her in the dark. Just a little further, he shouted, a plea more than a command. But as they stumbled forward, the shadows snaked around his legs, gripping tighter, as whispers turned to screams. Dad, help me. Lily's voice cracked, and in that heartbeat, the weight of old wounds flooded him. Could he save her? Or would he lose his second chance like he lost everything else? With sheer force of will, he threw off the shadows clawing at him and lunged toward her, their fingers reconnecting as he pulled her through the door. Just then, the shadows screeched, retreating momentarily into the darkness, and he felt a surge of triumph. But the door suddenly slammed shut behind them, and he was met with another surge of hatred that pushed them away from the barrier, threatening to drag them back into the chaos. They were not safe yet. What now? Lily looked up at him, wide-eyed, as the world around them began to distort again, the facade of safety melting like wax. But before he could respond, the walls shuddered, splitting like a wound, opening deep chasms beneath their feet. He grabbed Lily and braced himself against the onslaught, and in that terrifying moment, he knew the truth. What they had run from was only the beginning. Let us go, he shouted, throwing himself into the darkness. But instead of landing on solid ground, they plunged into a nightmare. Where would this lead them? Did the shadows wait to consume them? And as they fell, his heart pounded with the unsettling realization, what else had they awakened? The swirling darkness engulfed them, cold and unyielding. He wrapped his arms protectively around Lily as they fell, spinning through an endless void where time seemed irrelevant, where gravity no longer held sway. His brain raced through the impossible. Was this the end? Finally, they landed not softly on a ground, but with a jarring thud against a metal surface. Sharp pain shot through his shoulder. Groaning, he pushed himself up, instinctively checking on Lily. "Are you okay?" She nodded, her eyes wide, shimmering with a mix of fear and confusion. "Where are we?" Her voice was high, quivering. He looked around, the dim light illuminating a grim reality. They were in an abandoned factory, the walls stripped bare. Broken machinery lay strewn about, pieces of twisted metal glinting like teeth in the uncertain light. Shadows loomed in the corners, breathing down their necks, reminding him they were not alone. "Stay close," he urged, drawing her beside him as he scanned their surroundings. A piercing silence enveloped them, broken only by the distant sound of dripping water echoing through the hollow space. There had to be a way out. A flash of movement caught his eye to the left. He turned sharply, adrenaline surging. "Did you see that?" Lily nodded again, pressing closer, clutching his shirt. What was it? The shadows seemed to stretch, reaching toward them, alive with malice. "I don't know, but we need to keep moving." He took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. If they faced this together, they had a chance. Suddenly, a voice sliced through the silence, low and guttural. "You think you can escape?" His heart raced at the sound. Was that Tom? The familiarity twisted his gut. "You're already lost, who is there?" He shouted into the darkness, desperation clawing at his throat. "Show yourself." A figure materialized from the shadows, thin and distorted, its outline shifting like smoke. It was a grotesque parody of Tom, a nightmarish remnant of his friend, and for a moment, settled into a cruel smile. "You brought her here the sacrifice. She will feed us, Lily, run." He screamed, pushing her away instinctively. "Get out of here." But her feet wouldn't move. She tore her gaze from the apparition, mouth trembling. "Dad!" she cried, an echo of the fear he tried to ignore, the echo of wounds he thought healed. "No, I can't lose you." He lunged forward, shoving past the apparition. This ends now. Rage and desperation ignited inside him. Yet he felt the shadows coil around him, pulling him back. "You think you're a hero? You think you can save her?" The creature laughed, a sound that reverberated through the bones of the building. The laughter twisted into chaos, morphing with the whispers of the shadows, the voices of regret and despair. He struggled against the darkness, reaching for Lily with his free hand. "I won't let you take her." Just as he lost hope, Lily broke free from her paralysis. "Dad!" She grasped his arm tightly, grounding him. "We'll face this together." Fueled by the strength of their bond, they charged toward the figure, their combined will of flammable force. The dark shapes writhed. Unhealthy cries of anger erupted from the depths. It was now or never. But then, just as they nearly reached the exit, a blinding light erupted from behind, blaring like an alarm, filling the room with an overbearing brightness. The shadows writhed and twisted, slithering away as the light consumed them. "What is happening?" Lily gasped, covering her eyes. As the shadowed figure vanished in the light, a new voice called out, one that sent chills down his spine. "You really thought a light could save you?" He recognized the voice, and the weight of betrayal crashed down upon him. Tom's heart sank. What had they awakened? What kind of nightmare awaited on the other side of this light? And would it tear them apart forever? The blinding light swallowed them, and for a moment, it felt like they were suspended in time. His heart thudded in his chest, panic racing through him. What was happening? Was the darkness gone for good? "Just keep your eyes on me," he gasped, feeling a swell of hope push against fear. He turned to Lily, and for the briefest moment, the light illuminated her face. A flicker of determination shone through her fear, but in the wake of Tom's chilling voice, he felt it waver. "You don't understand what you've stepped into." Tom's distorted echo slithered through them, taunting, lingering. "This place is a prison for the lost, and you've released it. You have no idea what you're facing." "Shut up," he shouted, clenching his fists. He could feel the shadows dimming, but the oppressive weight of dread clung to him like a second skin. Lily grabbed his arm, her grip tightening as the light receded, a shimmering halo yielding once more to the cold metal of the factory. "We need to keep moving, Dad. It's getting darker again." Just as he nodded, the floor trembled beneath them, shaking with a menacing growl. The walls began to pulse, the shadows creeping back, coiling thicker than before, as if drawn to something primal. He could feel the fear coursing through her, seeping from her every pore. "Tom, where are you?" He yelled into the abyss, daring the darkness to swallow him whole. "If you're still in there, show yourself." A laugh, rich with malevolence, erupted from the shadows. "Still holding on to hope, I see. Hope is a cruel teacher. What do you want from us?" Lily cried, the tremor of her voice echoing his own uncertainty. "Sacrifice," came Tom's voice, reverberating around them, "to feed this insatiable hunger." Suddenly, the machinery groaned to life around them. Parts shifted, parts of it stood as twisted effigies of what had once operated here. Giant gears turned, joining metal limbs as they clanked ominously in sync. Each sound crushed the hope bubbling inside him, grinding it to dust beneath a merciless steel heel. "Keep moving," he barked, urging Lily forward, every instinct screaming for them to escape. They darted through the factory, shadows biting at their ankles, gnashing their teeth in frustration. But there was no clear path, and with each step, the air thickened. It felt heavy, almost as if the darkness had its own intent, narrowing their exit, extinguishing their fight. That a scream erupted behind them, ice-cold and piercing. Both of them froze. "Lily?" he gasped, spinning around. But she wasn't beside him anymore. The fear shot through him. His heart raced as he searched wildly. "Lily!" His voice echoed in the emptiness, swallowed by shadows. Just then, a figure lurked just beyond the edge of sight. "You're all alone now," Tom hissed from the shadows, a cruel smile playing on his lips. "And she's just the beginning now," he shouted, panic clawing at his throat. He surged forward, lighting angry flames in his chest. "I'll find her. You can't take her." But as he charged toward the figure, the room warped. The shadows pulsed with exhilaration, encircling him like a macabre dance. They hissed sweet nothings, promising misery, promising torment. "Just give in," they whispered, the voices merging into one, and he staggered under their weight, fighting to stay upright when everything within him urged surrender. The shadows twisted again, and he caught a flicker of Lily's frightened face somewhere within the depths. "Dad, stay close to my voice." He fought against the shadows, his heart pounding like a drum of war, every muscle straining for her. But as the echoes of her cries resonated into thin air, a sudden realization gripped him. He had to confront Tom, not just to save Lily, but to untether the bonds binding him to this nightmare. "Tom, if you want a piece of me, come get it," he roared, hoping to unearth the remnants of his friend lingering behind the creature's sneer. The laughter subsided, replaced by a slow, heavy silence. "So be it." The shadows quivered, shifting into a howling storm, ready to unleash chaos upon him. With nothing left to lose, he plunged deeper into the darkness in search of the light of his daughter, fueled by a desperate resolve. But in that cold void, with the shrieks of despair ringing in his ears, he couldn't shake the feeling. Was Tom truly gone? Had he opened a door to something worse? As shadows wailed and the ground trembled beneath him, he moved forward in defiance, determination rising. But the question loomed in his thoughts, a thunderous echo. How far would he have to go to save Lily and himself? The air thickened, heavy and oppressive as he pushed forward, hands shaking at his sides. He wasn't about to let the darkness win, not when there was still a chance to save Lily. His heart raced with each step deeper into the shadows, echoing the frantic rhythm of his thoughts. Where had she gone? "Lily!" he shouted, his voice swallowed by the monstrous growls encircling him. Then came a flicker, a momentary flash of light, like a beacon cutting through the gloom. He sprinted toward it, fueled by hope. The shadows recoiled, hissing as he approached. His instincts screamed at him to retreat, but there was no backing down now. "Hold on, I'm coming." Just as he reached the source, the light flickered out. Panic surged. Was it another trap? He fumbled through the darkness, hands grasping for something, anything to anchor him. And then he felt it, a small, trembling hand. "Dad." It was Lily's voice, a mixture of relief and fear. His heart surged with adrenaline as he pulled her close. Relief washed over him, but it was short-lived. The ominous shadows churned, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling around them. He could feel the heat of the darkness, a hot breath on the back of his neck. "Are you okay?" he asked, scanning her face, searching for any sign of harm. "I saw him, Tom. He was right there." She whimpered, her voice cracking. The memories of their confrontation clung to her like a fog, heavy and unyielding. "I know," he whispered, squeezing her hand tighter. "We've got to keep moving." With a sudden lurch, the ground beneath them shuddered. The machinery surrounding them groaned back to life, gears grinding together like angry teeth. They turned as one, all too aware that every twist felt like a countdown. What if they were already too late? "Run!" he yelled, and with that, they bolted. The shadows raced behind them, extending and contracting like hungry tendrils reaching out, desperate to reclaim their prize. In the escalating chaos, he caught a glimpse of Tom's ethereal form intertwining with the shadows, his grin as sharp as jagged metal. "You can't escape." Tom's voice wove through the echoes, each word twisted and suffused with malice. "Don't look back. Stay with me," he urged Lily, her energy pulsating with fear, but also an undeniable spark of resilience. They surged through the factory, shadows snapping at their heels. He kept his eyes fixed ahead, air slicing past them as they dodged rusted machinery that loomed like hulking nightmares. Then, they reached a junction. Dim light flickered in the distance through a broken window, promising freedom yet again. "There," he pointed, ready to break their sprint toward it. But suddenly, from the creeping darkness, Tom materialized in front of them, poised and grinning like a predator cornering its prey. "Ending this would be a mercy," he said, voice smooth and sinister. "Give in to the shadows. It's what they want." "No," he shouted, raising his arm in defiance. "We'll never surrender." "Foolish," Tom sneered, and with that, the shadows surged. In one swift motion, he felt the darkness clawing at him, dragging him toward Tom's outstretched hand. He gasped, struggling and pulling Lily close, desperate to shield her from the encroaching void. But the grip of fear wrapped around him like barbed wire, cutting deeper as each second passed. "Lily, stay strong." Just as he sensed his resolve wavering, a flash of rage surged through him. "You want to take her." With a primal scream, he lunged, breaking free from the shadow's grasp and propelling both him and Lily forward. They tumbled into the dim light of the factory floor, gasping as they landed hard. "Look," she cried, pointing. "There's a door." But as they scrambled to their feet, a terrifying realization twisted in his gut. The door was ajar, but within, the shadows writhed, restless and hungry. Is it a way out or a way deeper? He wondered, his heart racing against the uncertainty. Could they trust it? Would there be safety on the other side? He turned to Lily, eyes wide with fear and determination. "What do we do?" But as darkness gathered around them, thick and treacherous, he could feel it, the shadows licking at their heels, urging them to stay forever. And just before he could respond, a chilling scream erupted from within the door. "Run!" he yelled again. But now something felt different, something felt incredibly wrong. Had they really chosen the wrong path this time? The air felt electric, charged with an unspeakable tension as they stood there, dread swirling in the corners of his mind. The scream echoed around them, a haunting cry that jarred him to his core. Surely it was a trap and illusion spun by the very shadows they were fighting against. But the sound reached deep, gnawing at his instincts. What if someone really was in danger? "Stay close," he ordered, clutching Lily's hand like a lifeline. They stepped towards the door, the movement punctuated by a low growl emanating from the darkness beyond. "What if it's Tom?" Lily whispered, her voice trembling. "Then we'll face him together." "We've done it before," he replied, swallowing hard. But doubt clenched in his gut. Was that enough? They pushed the door wider, its rusted hinges creaking like bones under strain. Inside was something more than just darkness. The air pulsed with an energy packed with wild despair. His breath hitched as he spotted a figure crumpled on the floor. "No, it can't be," he staggered forward, unsure if he was ready to see what lay beneath the shadows. But there it was, a flicker of light barely illuminating the tear-streaked face of another girl, no older than Lily, her auburn hair tangled and matted. "Help!" she choked out, eyes wide and pleading. He is coming. He is coming back." Panic raced through him. He looked at Lily, who had instinctively taken a step back, fear written all over her. "Should we help her?" "Of course. We can't leave her here." His voice was firm, though uncertainty twisted in his chest. Why was this girl here? And why did they feel intertwined in this sinister tapestry? As they approached, the shadows curled at their feet, swirling like a boiling pot. "Hurry," the girl urged as the shadows slithered closer, eyes gleaming with darkness. Just as they reached her, Tom's voice cut through the air, a low, thunderous laugh reverberating off the walls. "How touching a family reunion," he taunted, materializing at the threshold with an unsettling ease. "Too bad you can't save everyone. Get away from her," he shouted, positioning himself in front of Lily, ready to defend with everything he had. The surge of adrenaline rushed in, giving him courage but sparking terror into his veins. Tom laughed again, stepping forward, shadowy figures writhing around him. "You should be just given in. Now you'll all share a fate. Darkness needs company." The girl on the ground whimpered, gripping Lily's ankle as if anchoring herself. "He is lying. He just wants to trap you. No, you'll fail like the others." Tom snarled, his face alight with malicious glee. The air grew chill as he searched for a plan. There had to be a chance. "Lily, can you remember anything from what Tom said? Any weakness?" She shook her head, eyes clouding with fear. "I just know he can control them, the shadows." But something sparked in her gaze, a flicker of determination. "But I think they don't like light." "Light," he echoed, a sudden thought hitting him hard. They had been fighting shadows, but maybe light could push them back. Beside him, the girl began to tremble harder. "It's in the control room. The lights." "Where? Show us," he urged, trying to hold on to hope that maybe, just maybe, this was their path out. But Tom lunged toward them, shadow tendrils reaching and curling, hungry for flesh. "Enough," he roared, the shadows snapping like whips. They reeled back, hearts pounding. He climbed to the edge of desperation. "Go. Now. We'll hold them off." But in that moment, the shadows surged towards them, a sea of darkness and despair, closing them in. "Dad!" Lily screamed, a piercing cry that shattered the air, dragging him back. But as they tumbled into the darkness again, a horrifying twist began to unravel. What had he really sacrificed for Lily? Was the girl's plea leading them into a deeper darkness, or could they return back to light? Just before the shadows swallowed them whole, he realized they were trapped in a game he never meant to join, caught between saving one life and potentially sacrificing their own. And then the world went dark. Would they muster enough light to break free, or had they unwittingly stepped into a fate far worse than either thought imaginable? The darkness seemed to stretch indefinitely, swirling like a tempest around them. For a moment, as they fell deeper, each heartbeat felt like being consumed by shadows. He clung to the tiny hand in his, pulling Lily closer as they neared what felt like an abyss. "Hold on," he shouted, unsure of how hard they would land or what awaited them on the other side. Suddenly, they hit something hard and metallic, the jarring impact knocking the breath out of his lungs. He gasped, blinking against the thick blackness that enveloped them. Adrenaline still coursed through his veins, a desperate fire lighting his heart. "Lily," he called, scrambling to his feet, checking her form, trembling yet intact. "Dad, I'm scared." Her voice was small, yet her grip on him was fierce. "This ends now," he replied, steeling himself, a surge of determination igniting his resolve. Together, he and Lily could face the darkness threatening their lives, seeping in with each breath they took. But would the shadows relent? "Quick, over here." The girl from before appeared, her face illuminated just enough to relive the intensity of her gaze. "The control room. It's just beyond that door." She pointed toward a steel door looming in the darkness, faint scratches carved into it like a warning. Once again, Tom's laughter echoed through the shadows, deep and chilling, like thunder rolling across a stormy sky. "You're playing a dangerous game. Light, you really think you can win?" He emerged from the shadows, garbed in darkness as if he had reclaimed the very essence of it. "You're already trapped. Stay strong," he urged Lily and the girl, determination thrumming within him. We have to reach that door together. With every ounce of courage, they charged, shadows twisting around them, inches away from clawing at their flesh. The chill stung, but the flicker of hope fueled their momentum. Inside the control room, a series of flickering lights beckoned, a dim beacon against the overwhelming gloom. Heart racing, he lurched for a switchboard splattered with dust and grime. It felt alien yet familiar, like remnants of a dream once shared with Tom. "Lily, hold tight. We can do this," he shouted over the chaotic strings of darkness. She nodded fiercely, eyes wide but resolute. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, hissing with fury, as if understanding a shift in power. "No, you can't." Tom's derisive shout split the air, but they had already reached the console, the biggest switch glowing daringly throbbing against the encroaching shadows. Now or never. His trembling fingers reached for the switch, the anticipation almost unbearable. On 3, 1, 2. He threw the switch with all the strength he could muster. A blinding light erupted from the control panel, bursting forth in waves that pushed the darkness back. The shadows screeched, howling in rage as they receded, the vicious grip loosening, freeing them from their confines. "We did it." Lily beamed, relief flooding her voice. But before joy could settle, Tom lunged forward, desperate and filled with rage, shadowy tendrils shooting out like lightning, each seeking to reclaim its bond. "I'll take you with me." "No, you have to fight it, Tom," he shouted back, desperation clawing at his throat. "You can break free." He could see glimpses of who Tom once was beneath the layers of shadow, desperation mirrored in his hollow gaze. "No, I am the darkness," he bellowed, dissolving into clashing shadows that fought against the light. But the light surged brighter, piercing through the shadows, revealing remnants of lost children from long ago, trapped in a cycle of despair. The factory filled with echoes of hope, of laughter, of long-forgotten dreams. "Tom!" he screamed, sunlight breaking through the dark, warming the air like a balm to old wounds. "You can let them go. You can be free." "Dad, help him," Lily urged, tears trailing down her cheeks. The pleading in her eyes struck a chord. He turned back to Tom, fiercely anchoring on the essence of their friendship. "You don't belong to the shadows. Remember us, Tom. Remember who you are." Tom hesitated, fragments of his humanity flickering through laughter and tears. And in that moment, the blinding light swept across the room, and one piercing scream broke free from Tom's lips, swallowing the shadows around him. "Let me go?" The echoes twisted in turmoil, cascading through the room until darkness scattered, clawing back to silence. A heavy silence lingered as the shadows fell away, retreating like a tide. He blinked against the brightness, watching as Tom's form wavered, reflecting a flickering spark before vanishing entirely. "Is it over?" Lily whispered, her small frame trembling as he enveloped her in his arms. That he held her tight against his chest, relief flooding through him. "I think so. We're safe now." But a heavy weight still hung in the air, the bittersweet ache of unresolved loss clenching his heart. When they stepped outside together, the storm had passed, the night sky revealing glimmers of stars above. They were met by the gentle sounds of a small town waking up, the world beyond them alive again. "Look, Dad. It's beautiful," Lily chirped, pointing up, and the shadows felt a million miles away as they walked hand in hand. Lily's laughter broke the tension like a breath of fresh air. The orphanage had been reclaimed, the whispers of hope intertwining with the memories of their past. And while the sorrow lingered, so did the unbreakable bond between them, a promise of light shining through any darkness. This was just the beginning of new stories waiting to be written. It was time to rebuild. As he gazed down at her, he knew they would face whatever came next together. You need to subscribe now to ensure you never miss thrilling stories like this. This is the moment to show your support by smashing that like button now. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us flood that comment section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Your participation makes all the difference.